I just wanted to say, I've really found this to be the most powerful starting point. To give you an example, like I love the work. I think is it Janine Roth. I love a lot of the people that are out there. Like let's say if you're dealing with food addiction, a lot of the focus being on sending love to the body, um, and sending acceptance to the body. I think that it's I don't actually know if she says this part directly or not, but I think for me, the part with any addiction, no matter what the issue is, you could be addicted to gossiping about people. You could be addicted to, compulsive shopping. I mean, there's so many things. Whatever the thing is, I really think the secrecy about it, the shame about it that the culture teaches, the blame about it that you especially get in the spiritual world, like, oh, well, if you were really evolved, God, you wouldn't be doing something like that. And, what I've really come to with all these things is especially if you have a plutonic obsessive nature in your chart, which ironically is often the case with very spiritual people. It's almost like you need a certain intensity in your nature to even draw you to God in the first place. And not that you have to have that, but it often goes with the equation. The dark side or the shadow side of that strong mind can be an obsessive nature. And then when you're sending healing, acceptance, like we just did. Don't underestimate the power of doing that. Like you're holding that kid so close and saying, it's okay. Not just, send love to your body, but it's okay. I forgive you, if that works for you. But even just, it's okay. I love you. This isn't an indicator of your value or worth. That's really how I see addiction is it's really the small self trying to survive a sometimes impossible situation or a difficult situation. It's trying to do the best that it can, and so it flips into an addictive mode to survive. Now, I think that's where offering everything to the divine becomes incredibly powerful because it can be, on a human level, the small self knows no other way to survive except by acting out through eating or acting out through shopping or whatever it is. But going in and saying to it, I almost want to say that wasn't a random thing I said at the end of the meditation where I said, you bless the addiction. Anything can become holy. Anything. You make it holy by blessing it. It's the truth. I mean, anything in your own psyche. So whatever you shun, whatever you go, oh, that's disgusting that I do that. I actually have a good friend who's a wonderful person, and she has like a lot of self disgust that periodically comes up, where she goes, oh, I went and I ate all that. That's just so disgusting. And she's so filled with all this blame. And I've been really talking to her, going, this would like really be different if you could tap any place of loving that kid that just went and, ate 6 rolls, whatever it is, that you can send love to the self-disgust because it's the disgust and the blame and the rejection that keeps out the holiness. So as soon as you're going in and you're holding that kid and you're saying, "Oh, dear God, I don't know how to do this, but let me bless even this, even this. Let me send love to it." That is often the starting point. So not just sending love to the body, but actually sending love to the addicted part. And I will give you my own occupational, personal piece with this before I go to questions, which is that I have periodically gone in and out of having enormous addiction to oracles. It's like a joke amongst my friends. And, as a part of me that's been like, wow, of course that happened because I gave 30,000 readings to people over the course of my life. And it's almost like that part of the brain that needed to know or was trying to know over those years, or that needed to know for other people, and that literally was getting paid to know for other people, that part of the brain I had enormous trouble turning off. And I used to just do some really crazy things. Like at one point, I was using the I Ching so much that my friend Dan, who some of you may know from Outrageous Openness, I actually gave him my copy of the I Ching, and I told him like he had to keep it under lock and key and not give it back to me because I had to have like a month where I didn't use it. And what was funny is like having a good friend lock it up. It was amusing and we still joke about it, but it actually didn't help that much. What helped, and that's why, like, if you're addicted to cheese, locking up the cheese doesn't always work. It's like it's often still coming from that place of the self-loathing, the blame. I mean, when I was doing this stuff with oracles, I was like, joking. I'm going, boy, I really want to start like Oracle Anonymous meetings, blah, blah, blah. But what really did start to shift it for me was what I just did with you in the meditation, sort of holding that kid and going, I am so sorry that the response that you've had to your life as life has unfolded itself is that you've become addicted to using these oracles. And the more I was saying to that small self, it's okay. I kind of said to her, do it to your heart's content. If you want to take a day and use I Ching all day and pull tarot cards all day, and go right ahead. And once I said that to her, it lost a lot of its charge. I mean, not just saying it once, but saying it over a course of time. It's like whatever gets demonized, you can feel this, it gets put into the dark. Whatever gets demonized, whatever gets shame-based, and then you have to be very careful to not open yourself to people that will also shame you. Anyone who shames you for an addiction is scared of their own. Let's just say that from the start. Anyone who shames you for it, or blames you from it, or makes you feel that you're less than because of whatever, they're talking about themselves. They're not talking about you. Because any place of self-love not only takes you out of judging yourself, it takes you out of judging the addiction in other people. In fact, there's a great line. I don't know if people know Stephen Levine. He's a wonderful writer about spiritual topics. And he once said that, the difference between pity and compassion is when you pity somebody, it's your fear touching their pain. When you have compassion for somebody, it's your love touching their pain. And that's really it. It's like that place of pity or blame or shame. It's all coming from that same place of the fear that the culture teaches people very, very well. So as soon as you go into what we just did in the meditation, that place of the love, that place of that, it's okay. Now, you're not saying you wouldn't prefer to be free of whatever it is. It could be making your life very crazy. You're not saying, yeah, it's okay, let's do this forever. But you're saying, you are good anyway. And the addiction itself is not you. It is not you. It's an action of survival, often in response to insanity. So going into that place of, dear God, let me accept and allow and bless this. It may sound crazy. I had to go in and bless my oracle addiction. I really did. And it was at different points in my life making my life crazy. It was a truly OCD thing. The more I blessed it, the more I said to that kid, you you want to spend the day and this is what we're going to do. I will be there with you. I love you. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about this. I love you. It started to die out. So, and I think that, some of the really great books about like food stuff, like Janine Roth, I think it's really from the same place in a different way, where it's saying you putting yourself in prison about foods or scale or all that, it may work for some people, but if you're highly plutonic, like I am, it's that place of love to the body, listening inside, honoring the inner self, offering the body to God. So many addictions come from that place of the emptiness. You're soothing the emptiness. So as soon as you're returning to that place of saying to that kid, how can I love you more? And take the shame, take the onus off of, ooh, this dirty addiction I have, this disgusting addiction I have. That's always my friend, she just uses that word all the time. And I'm just like, look, it's not disgusting, only in the mind. It's you trying to survive. So that to me is really one of the hugest keys you could do. We'll get to this through the questions, so I'm gonna jump into them now, and you'll